What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the BlockHash podcast, and Happy New Year. I think I can still say that because we're still in January. Today on the show, we have Dr. Philip Blazdell. He's the CEO of Fedrok, a Swiss-registered blockchain company, reimagining the environmental impact of blockchain mining and the inefficiencies of carbon credit markets. So it'll be a very fun episode and conversation, and we have Philip on the show already. Philip, welcome on, man. It's a pleasure to have you here and excited to dive into Fedrok a bit more today and learn more about it. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's an exciting time to be part of Fedrock. So I'm thrilled to share that with you guys this afternoon.
Awesome. I'm excited to learn more about it. Before we do, I guess the best place to start would be a little bit about yourself and your backgrounds. What can you tell us about your prior experiences leading up to Web3 and maybe what even inspired you to get into this industry?
I started getting involved with blockchain and crypto about 2011 as an engineer when I was actually building ASICs for the original Bitcoin mining machines. So that was super interesting. But my Web3 journey really began on a rubbish dump in the Philippines. And I was, for various reasons, waiting for a friend, and I was watching people collect rubbish. And my background as an engineer led me to believe that why are they doing this? How could this be better? So whilst I was waiting, I started designing efficient systems in my head, and from that, my passion for cash for trash grew. So how can we make money from waste and recycling? Did a little bit of research. It led me down the Web3 kind of avenue, and I realized that focusing on these small micro projects were really exciting for me. And from that, the idea for Fedrock was born.
Nice. And what is Fedrock? Is that kind of a summation of the things that you've been talking about here just previously and wanting to do like a cash for trash type of approach to Web3 with carbon credits and whatnot? Or what would you say is a good overview for Fedrock?
Fedrock really wants to change the world, and we've got massive ambitions for the company. And as much as I'm absolutely passionate about micro cash for trash projects, what we're really interested in is the carbon credits market. Because for me, that seems so dysfunctional at the moment and so unorganized and so untransparent, that we wanted to create something to address those issues. And we're quite modest at Fedrock. What we want to do, we just want to change the life of 8 billion people. It's that simple. If we have fun along the way, that's great. But so after sitting down and deciding, that this was our passion, this is what we're going to do, we really focused on the carbon credits because that seems to be like a problem with no solution.
Got it. Can you explain a little bit what carbon credits are? I know there's probably going to be people that are vaguely familiar with them. How would you best describe carbon credits and how do they fit into this industry?
To be honest with you, that's one of the questions that I'm still struggling on a daily basis with this because the definition seems pretty fluid. The other thing that I struggle with, and we struggle with a company, is how carbon credits can actually benefit an industry and not only be detrimental, because we've seen a lot of negative sides. Essentially, in simple terms that even I can understand, a carbon credit is a financial mechanism to reduce greenhouse gases. So it's a way of incentivizing people by giving some kind of economic incentives. So normally what people say is one carbon credit represents 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide saved. So, you know, people can buy these carbon credits to offset the damage they're doing to the environment.
And then do you tie that in with your own token, with your own mechanism for Fedrock? I know FTK token is tied to verified real world carbon credits, correct?
One of the things that we wanted to do and the challenge we set ourselves was how to build trust within the blockchain and how to have something people can believe in. So in order for people to mine our token, they have to be approved and on a green journey. So Essentially, we audit people and we should see if they're meeting their ESG criteria, if they're actually doing things correctly to reduce carbon emissions. And we understand that people may not be perfect at the moment, but you know, let's take them on a journey to be green. So we do some clever calculations that says by moving over to using green energy, moving your Bitcoin mining from, well, dirty energy, so to speak, to clean energy, you're saving X amount of carbon, and that will be the value of the tokens that you can mine. Eventually, it's all going to level out, and it's going to be, one of our tokens is equivalent to 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide.
Okay, got it. And then your guys' consensus mechanism is proof of green, which is a new one. I haven't heard of that one before. Um, how does that kind of work for you guys?
Proof of green was a concept that we came up with one afternoon, a very cold and snowy afternoon in Switzerland. And the consensus mechanism basically ensures that all of our transactions are trustworthy. So this comes back to actually auditing the blockchains ourselves. So we ensure that, people can only come in and mine our tokens if we ensure their green status. So, instead of me just setting up a mining rig in Oman or something like this, we're encouraging people to think how they can do that in an energy efficient way. So that's really the consensus mechanism. And I think the reason we really like that, not only because it rolls off the tongue and it sounds kind of cool, is it's everything that we want the blockchain to be. Because as we dived into this industry and we went down the rabbit hole, we saw a lot of things that made us deeply uncomfortable about how carbon credits are accounted, double counting, um, people doing things that, wouldn't stand up on a financial balance sheet. So the proof of green was, okay, guys, we're here. We want to make things as transparent, as equitable as possible for people.
And then, I know that carbon credits in that market in particular have suffered from a lot of issues such as lack of transparency, inefficiencies, lack of understanding for how they can be utilized. How are you guys tackling some of those issues? And then on the same note, do you guys have any use cases already with some other projects maybe that have been building on Fedrok or using Fedrok that can kind of highlight maybe how you guys are approaching this as well?
Unfortunately, I'm a little bit unable to speak to you about the use case because we have a use case at the moment that I would absolutely love to talk to you about. It's absolutely thrilling and I'm very excited. And I've just got back in the UK from signing the MOU about this one. So maybe in a couple of weeks' time we can come back on and we can tell you about that. But it's really exciting. To answer the two questions here, there's two things that we want to achieve. The first one is quite obvious. We want to make things transparent. So if you have one carbon credit, it's one carbon credit. You're not double accounting. And this is where the immutability of the blockchain and the technology behind the blockchain really appealed to me. And it comes back to the original epiphany I had while standing knee deep in garbage in the Philippines was, how do people know how much they've actually picked up in terms of the trash? How do we account for this? So hopefully by making everything beyond repute, we can, ensure that things are more transparent. The challenge we have, and any blockchain company has, is how to build trust. So when we originally sat down to do this project, we looked at all of the competing technology, and we decided that the most insane thing to do would build the layer one blockchain ourselves and build everything in Switzerland, because that would go a long way to building trust. So, because we're a Swiss company, we have to register with FINMA, which is a Swiss financial authority. So, all of our processes are clean. We just signed up with a what's called a VQF in Switzerland, which is a, voluntary financial auditor. So, everything we have to do for the company goes through Swiss compliance, which for me as a complete nerd and somebody likes process and procedure is brilliant. Yep. But if you want to have an easy life, it's not the way to do things because it's 10 times more complex than creating SOPs. So in that sense, what we've done is we've tried to build a company in a place that's known for its financial security, for its honesty, for its integrity. We've built a lot of things like ISO 9001, 14001, 2701, and zero trust into our architecture. And from a user point of view, this actually won't be apparent, but what it means is all of our management certificates and all our procedures and processes are documented. So that starts from the AML and the KYC, and it goes right the way down until we handle customer complaints. And again, as a purist and as an engineer, not somebody from this world, this is what I always wanted to do, to build the company as if I was building a pharmaceutical company, which is great. The other flip side, and this is the bit I'm super proud of, is one of the reasons or one of the problems we had with carbon credits is it's not particularly a market that people can access easily. So if you're a fisherman in Thailand concerned about losing water quality because the water's being flooded, or if you're an agrochemical company in Sri Lanka, which we've been talking to recently, how do you participate on a micro level? So one of the things that Fedrok will also be is almost the first peer-to-peer network for the exchange in carbon credits. And again, I've seen how these little tiny grassroots projects have the ability to change the world. So not only are we focusing on the business to company side, which if we can structure that and we can get everything working smooth will be a huge step forward. But if we can do this on a micro level, similar, the model I'm thinking of is something like Gcash in the Philippines, which allows people to make tiny transactions but to improve their life significantly. That's also the goal of Fedrok. And that wasn't the original goal, but as we've gone out and we've spoken to people, people have said like this is what we want to do. So, that's the aim for it.
Interesting. Why Switzerland? I know Switzerland's got very favorable Web3 laws for Web3 startups, but anything in particular in regards to sustainability or the environment or carbon credits for choosing Switzerland? Like, is there any benefit in regards to that and doing it there?
Switzerland's a fantastic place to build Web3 and crypto and blockchain projects because FINMA, the financial organization, gives you a huge degree of freedom to play around in sandboxes and to push the boundaries a little bit. And working with FINMA has been such a pleasant experience. This is a document you need to send, and we can push the boundaries a little bit. However, the reason we chose Switzerland is because it has the most rigorous compliance systems in the world. And one of the problems not coming from this world per se is about trust and how to build trust. And the idea was already always to have something beyond repute. So where is the most demanding place in the world for legislation and for compliance? Switzerland. So that's, you know, we could have built this project in the Cayman Islands or Malta or somewhere like this for about a tenth of the money and done it 4 times as quickly. But working in the Swiss structure gives us that little bit of compliance. And we're very ambitious and we want people to come and build on the blockchain. We want people to engage with us. But the first stage we need to do is to build trust. And for my money, Switzerland does have that reputation of trust.
Another question I want to ask you about is mining in particular. And this is something that I'm familiar with myself as well because I ran a mining operation for a few years a while back. So I know some of the ins and outs of it and some of the complexities and issues. One of them being obviously the amount of energy it uses and the amount of impact that it can have on the environment, depending on where that energy is sourced. I'm curious how you guys maybe support sustainable mining. What efforts maybe you guys put there with Fedrok in terms of helping support Bitcoin mining operations, other crypto mining operations, and what forms that may take?
Again, this is part of a project that's about to break with us that I'm super excited by. So essentially, we we're quite nerdy and techno driven. So the idea is always to help people to achieve this green agenda. So whether that's connecting people to different technology suppliers, whether that's advising people on the best locations to set up, or as I was doing last week for a company, actually sitting down and writing their roadmap for sustainability. So we've been doing a lot of consulting for people of how actually to set up the business in terms of ESG reporting, how to actually drive change. For example, we're working with a huge mining setup at the moment, which is doing some amazing things. And the plan that we've developed with them is a 5-year plan. So today they're here and they have the willingness to change and they're committed to this change. And over the next 5 years, we're going to help them, structure the business in a way that that's sensible. And are they going to achieve, carbon neutral? Probably not in 5 years, but they're going to reduce their impact by about 90%. We take a very collaborative approach with people, and we say, we're new, we're ambitious, join us on the journey. And because my background's engineering, and I've been, involved writing ESG protocols and for governments, this kind of thing, we feel that we're in a strong position to advise them on this.
The only thing I can think of really that may outpace this in the mining industry in general within blockchain is AI and their big data center push, and the fact that AI is using probably twice, if not more, the amount of power that a mining operation uses. Go figure, because Bitcoin already uses quite a lot. But it's quite an interesting dilemma to tackle. I don't know if this is something maybe that's on your guys' horizon, but it sounds like something that maybe could crop up for you guys in the future. Is there any interest in maybe expanding into the AI space a little bit and maybe offering some solutions there for AI data centers or companies maybe that are struggling there?
Yes, absolutely. And now we've tackled this small problem of carbon credits. I think we're ready to take on the world. So with these kind of journeys, it always starts with somebody wanting to actually achieve this. And it's such an interesting question because obviously, yes, we have a responsibility to do this. How that's going to look, I don't know. But the model we've set up for Fedrok doesn't preclude doing this. So it's just a question of how we would set up the consensus and how we would onboard people. But I think, we would be remiss not to go and tackle this.
Absolutely. I think you guys definitely should at some point because it seems like an industry that's ripe for that kind of help, given how much energy and how much of an impact it'll have on the environment going forward. What about for developers? Do you guys have any tools or tool sets that they can use if they want to start building on Fedrock, SDKs and APIs, testing environments? Any information up on the website that might be helpful for them?
We are currently updating the website for about the 157th time. Um, so we have a policy of continuous improvement at Fedrock, so nothing ever stands still. So certainly we have most of the materials and tools needed on the website. If they're not there now, they will be coming within the next 2 weeks. If there's anybody that particularly wants to reach out to the tech team, we have an amazing tech team who are just like super engaged with people. So, you know, as with any new project, we hope that we've got the tools and the systems aligned correctly. But I think it's also up to people to come back to us and engage with us and say, would you help us with this, or can you do this for us?
What's on your guys' roadmap for this year? Do you guys have anything up on the horizon in terms of maybe new announcements for partnerships, new tool sets that might be coming out for Fedrok, as well as maybe places you guys might appear, conferences, engagements, things like that? What should people keep an eye out for?
I think within the next week or two, there's going to be a very big announcement from us, and it's super exciting. It's going to be smashing one of our internal milestones quite quickly. So, which I'm super excited about. Um, in terms of that, the company is continuously developing. It's, I suppose, like any tech startup, it's 24/7 bonkers. Everyone's continually moving. So, um, we have one or two pieces to update on the website, and we've done a soft launch. We will bring in the token to market quite soon, um, but we're still very much at the stage where we're courting customers. So we've had a number of high level meetings with people who have very interesting use cases that want to come online. So, um, I think at this stage, we're still garnering customer, the voice of the customer, what people actually want our site to look like, how they want to engage with us. Once we have that, then I think we're just going to fly. So, in terms of events, I know we're attending a lot of events globally, just walking the show, and I would imagine in 2026 we'll be, exhibiting at shows. What kind of events we're gonna go to is a really interesting question because, my heart's in sustainability and the engineering side of it. So, but we've we've all been to enough kind of Token 2049 and other events to see the benefit of those. Well, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna turn that around to the community and the guys that listen to this fantastic podcast and say, "What do you want us to do? Where Take a look at us. What do you want us to do? How can we make things better? Where do you want us to be?" And hopefully we'll be popping up there.
What about your guys' token? You mentioned that a little bit ago. Do you guys have a release date for that? Is that set in stone yet or something that's up in the air?
It's not set in stone. We've taken quite a long time to figure out the tokenomics and to make sure everything's equitable. And again, being a Swiss company, we've had to go a little bit slower than we would have liked to get compliance from the Swiss authorities. So, I would say that's gonna happen end of February, March time.
Do you guys have a community anywhere where people can kind of jump in and share some discourse and talk about bedrock and carbon credits and sustainability? If so, where might that be?
Yep, we're very active on X. We have Telegram, Discord, and other social media channels. And one of the things that we wanted to make sure is people can have the owner's email address, they can have the CEO's email address. We just love people contacting us directly. Our social media channels are beginning to grow. We've just come out of stealth mode, so we're beginning to see some really fascinating conversations. But I think we've had a number of press releases go out recently, and I got a big mail shot of about 30,000 people that's going out tomorrow as well. All being well, if we get a good win this year, this could be our year, Fedrok.
Hey, it's a great year. 2025 is already off to a pretty good start for this industry, and I imagine some great things will come out over the course of this year. So I imagine Fedrock will do quite well given the environment and the trajectory of everything. What about yourself? If someone wants to connect with you as well, and maybe they want to collaborate with Fedrock and work together, and maybe they want a little bit more in-depth detail, or just something in regards to you in general, what's the best place to get in contact?
LinkedIn, email. My details are on the website. My name's pretty easy to find on LinkedIn, and everybody who messages me will get a response relatively quickly. And I'm honest with people, and maybe I'm not the expert in this, but I can certainly put you with our tech team. And I seem to be flying around the world meeting people who want to work with us at the moment. So, you know, everybody, please get in touch.
Awesome, man. Well, Philip, this has been great. I honestly think that obviously with innovation, which is the side of the industry that I love so much, needs to be balanced with sustainability and protections for our planet at the same time. So I love what you guys are doing with Fedrok, kind of combining those two things essentially, and keeping those in play. You're gonna have to let me know who this big partner is that you guys are working with soon. I know you want to say something, but
Yeah, so
I'm not
much.
going to get it out of you yet. So maybe we'll have you back on for a part two, and you can kind of divulge some of that partnership and use case, and maybe dive into it a bit more. But it sounds exciting from what I'm hearing. So I want to hear more about it soon.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.